Greetings from the Mare Astronomy Center and Jordan Planetarium at the University of Maine. My name is Sean Lotch. I'm the Planetarium Director, and I look forward to sharing some of the beauty and wonder of our universe with you. This is our virtual sky tour number 5 for the week of May 8th and going up through roughly May 14th or so. We're going to take a look at a few things that you can see in our sky, and once again we have our sky set up with stellarium. Do watch all the way through this video. At the end we're going to give you an astro update with some cool things that have been discovered and a possible comet you can see in the sky as well. Well, let's get started. We have stellarium set up for around 8:45 in the evening, about an hour or so after sunset. And what we want to do now is begin by bringing our pointer into view and taking a look at some of the things that are currently visible. We're facing the direction west, and here we have the planet Venus, which is extremely bright over in our western sky. Again, it is the brightest thing you will see in the sky other than the sun or moon, so it is hard to miss, and even before it gets completely dark, you'll notice it over there in the west-northwestern sky. Right now, we are seeing a bunch of our winter constellations fade away. This is just the very top portion of Orion the Hunter. It's almost completely gone at this point. Over here, this other bright star is the star Capella, part of the pentagon shape known as Auriga, or Auriga, the charioteer right up in there. But again, most of our winter constellations are disappearing. Maybe one last leftover from that season is going to be the Gemini Twins up here with the stars Castor and Pollux there in our sky. And in fact, if we were to maybe turn on a constellation line for those, there you can see again the Gemini Twins and just that top portion of Orion setting there over in the evening sky. Well, we're going to turn those off. Now let's go ahead and set time into motion here. And as we do so, we're going to see our sky move a little bit. We're going to go forward here through the night a little bit. I want to take you a little bit later into the evening. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to move all the way ahead to around 10 p.m. or so. And this is the way the sky would look at 10 p.m. You're going to notice a few things have sort of set over in the western sky. Venus just about gone. It's right at the horizon there. As we take a look for it, you can see that if we bring our pointer back into view over here, once again, there is Venus real low over in the northwestern sky around 10 p.m. Well, one of the reasons I want to take a look at this sort of view of the sky, if you will, we're going to move things around a bit here, change our perspective just a bit, and come on over and look a little bit high overhead. And we do have the constellation of Leo the Lion that is up there in our sky, sort of in the south. Here we see that backwards question mark shape, which is the head and mane of Leo, a rectangle through here that forms its body, and that single star Denobula that marks the tail. Again, to me, Leo has always sort of looked a bit like a sort of mouse with a curly Q tail there, but many folks imagine it as a really majestic lion in the nighttime sky, so you might think of it that way if you like. Again, Leo the lion there, and there he is sort of, and you can sort of see the Gemini Twins over off to one side as well. Well, we're going to take off our constellation line there, and we also want to sort of rotate our sky yet again a little bit. I'm going to sort of head over to an area of the sky that is over here a little bit towards the east a bit. And as we get there, you're going to notice something here, that we have our moon, which is visible in the eastern area of the sky. Now this is the sky around 10 p.m. So remember that on the 7th of May, we had a full moon, which was yesterday. Today, of course, the moon is one day past full moon, so you're starting to see it start to wane. The moon wanes as it moves from, of course, full moon all the way back to that crescent and to new moon. So a little bit less than a full moon visible in our sky tonight. Now, you wouldn't have seen it right away at sunset because the moon has moved farther to the east. So you had to wait till 10 o'clock, and that's when it's going to start to rise over in your eastern sky. Well, also coming up over in the east at this time, you're going to notice some stars that we haven't really talked about before. And we can bring our pointer up here into our sky to take a look at them. And this bright star here is called Vega, and Vega is in the constellation of Lyra the Harp. So Vega is sort of this really bright star there. There is a sort of parallelogram of stars that marks up the main sort of portion of that harp, and that little triangle there is sort of the top portion. It was an instrument called a lyre, again, a sort of a handheld harp, if you will, from ancient times. Well, if we were to sort of mark that constellation, if you will, again, you sort of see it there as almost like a figure 8 shape there in the nighttime sky, and the Greeks did have that really vivid imagination, imagining it as a bit of a harp, something like this there in your nighttime sky. Well, taking off that constellation line, but returning to our view of the sky over here, off to the northeast, we're also seeing another bright star, and this star is called Deneb. Deneb marks part of the constellation of Cygnus the Swan, and Cygnus is also known as the Northern Cross. Sort of the body, neck, and head of the swan come all the way down here to a star called Albireo, and then one wing of the swan extends up in this direction, and then down here the other wing comes down and up in this way. So that is, again, that constellation of Cygnus the Swan. And Cygnus the Swan, we sometimes think of as being one of our summertime constellations because it's high overhead at that time, but here in late spring we are starting to see it again around 10 p.m. over in the eastern sky. And lots of imagination maybe to see it as a swan. A lot of folks have called it the Northern Cross, and it does look a lot like a cross shape. And here you can see, again, that swan with our harp as well. Now, if we put time into motion here a little bit more and go a little bit later, again, this is the sky around 10 o'clock. Let's go all the way to around 11 o'clock or so, a little after 11. And here we're going to actually see our sky, and we're starting to have the last of our summer triangle. In fact, this is the sky a little bit past 11, actually closer to 11:30 at night. And you're seeing this group of stars down here, which we would call the Aquila the Eagle. And the star Altair sort of marks sort of the head of the eagle, and then its sort of body comes down through here and the wings up in that direction. I'm going to turn off those constellation lines for a moment so that you can see sort of just the eagle itself there, and maybe get rid of the line there, but you can see that constellation of Aquila the Eagle. And as we bring our sort of pointer back into the line, it sort of makes, in my mind, like a bit of a diamond shape there in the night sky with a little bit of a line attached to it. It's sort of the way I think of Aquila the Eagle. But again, you have that star. Those stars, again, Vega, Deneb, and Altair form up what we call the summer triangle, which during the height of summer is visible from sunset to sunrise. We do have, again, a little bit over a month before summer begins on the summer solstice. We're going to keep moving through our night and into our early morning skies as well. And as we do so, we're going to see things beginning to rotate. And I'm also going to rotate our view of the sky a bit here towards the north. And as we do so, I'm also going to sort of shrink our view of the sky a little bit here. Pull that down just a bit so that we can see a little bit more happening. Now, I have our sky sort of set in motion here. It's moving a little bit slow, but if you notice up here in our sky, as we bring our pointer back into view, we have the North Star, which is right here. That is staying stationary. All those other stars you might notice are sort of moving around the North Star. It's directly in line with our axis of rotation. Here is the Little Dipper, right up through there. And if you have trouble finding that North Star, look for the Big Dipper, which is right up here. These 7 stars, which sort of look like a giant potter pan. You can flip the imaginary pancake to that North Star there, Polaris, and then find the Little Dipper. Well, we can mark that Big Dipper there in the night sky, and there you see it as part of the constellation known as Ursa Major, or the Great Bear. And additionally, we can take a look and mark our constellation of the Little Dipper there. So those two visible in our night sky. Now, as I mentioned, they're going to be visible throughout the night. I'm putting time into motion. I'm letting things go here. I'm going to keep going, and you'll see everything again turning around that Big Dipper. And I'm going to stop the sky right around here. This is close to 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to take down our constellation lines for now, and we're going to sort of head back a little bit towards the eastern sky. And as we do so, you're going to have a nice view here in our eastern sky. You're going to notice 3 planets in the early morning. We've talked about these a little bit before, but we have Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars all visible there in a nice line. Now, the other thing that we're going to be talking about in just a moment here in the next portion, our news and views, is a comet that's going to be visible. It's not visible yet, but it is going to be in this area of the sky in sort of the east, if you will, and it's going to start to become visible right below Mars, down really low in this area of our sky. Now you're going to have to wait. It's not going to be visible this week. You're going to want to start to look for it probably starting off around the 15th or even 20th of the month. And I'll get into some more details about that comet in our next little piece connected to this, astronomy news and views. Well, that's going to hang it up for our sky lecture portion, but again, do keep watching for our news and views piece, which is immediately following this, and we do hope that you get out, take some time to enjoy the beauty and wonder of our night sky. This week, in addition to our virtual sky tour, we want to provide some astronomy news and views that might be of interest to you. To begin with, we'll start with a black hole. Astronomers from the European Southern Observatory discovered a black hole lying just 1,000 light-years from the Earth. It is closer to our solar system than any other found to date, and forms part of a triple star system that can be seen with the unaided eye in the southern hemisphere. It was discovered using the La Silla Observatory in Chile. The team originally observed the system, called HR 6819, as part of a study of double stars. However, as they analyzed their observations, they were stunned when it revealed a third invisible object, a black hole. Observations show that one of the 2 visible stars orbits an unseen object every 40 days, while the second star is at a large distance from the inner pair. The hidden black hole in HR 6819 is one of the very first stellar black holes found that do not violently interact with its environment and therefore appear truly black. Astronomers have only spotted a couple dozen black holes in our galaxy to date, nearly all of which strongly interact with their environments and make their presence known, releasing powerful X-rays. The discovery of this sort of invisible black hole, if you will, in HR 6819 provides clues that there are many more black holes in our Milky Way. And this discovery of these triple systems with an inner pair and a distant star could also provide clues about violent cosmic mergers that release gravitational waves powerful enough to be detected from Earth. We'll just have to keep our eye on this. Well, in addition to that black hole, Comet Swan begins to grace our skies this month. To date, Southern Hemisphere observers have had the best views for this comet, but in mid-May that will start to change as the comet begins to move rapidly northward. Starting later this week, observers in the southern United States should get their first glimpse of the comet very low in the eastern sky during morning twilight as it speeds from Cetus into Pisces. The comet's height in the eastern horizon will vary on latitude. With more northerly latitudes, like here in Maine, the best time to view the comet is roughly May 20th through the early portion of June. It's expected to reach about 2.8 in magnitude, or brightness, around the 21st. Look for it about an hour and a half to 2 hours before sunrise in the eastern sky. Now again, your best bet is to start looking for this roughly around the 15th of May and going forward. Before that time, it's almost going to be impossible to see here from Maine. But the comet may get extremely bright and beautiful. Again, the image you're seeing from the astronomy picture of the day shows that comet with its beautiful tail. Let's hope we get a stunning view here in the northern hemisphere as well. Do keep your eye out for it. Well, thanks so much for joining us for our tour of the night sky and our quick astronomy update. We hope to see you again soon at Astronomy Center and Jordan Planetarium. Keep looking up.